My boyfriend of 8 months is starting to police my eating habits, and I'm tired of it. For the record, I'm a small-framed, visibly muscular 5'4" woman whose weight fluctuates anywhere between 128 to 135. My boyfriend's always teased and encouraged me to eat more, but it's always been playful before. I used to tease him about his mammoth-sized portions. Like seriously, where does it go? Because I had to start making date night dinners that should serve 4. To be clear, he constantly underestimates his calories and is often shocked when reading nutritional information. I don't know where he got the idea that he's knowledgeable enough to be judging what I'm eating, but there you go. Lately, he's become very fixated on this idea that I'm going to start starving myself without his guidance. I don't have a big sweet tooth, I don't snack on the regular, I only eat about half of my restaurant entrees. We usually split an appetizer. I'm a lightweight, and I prefer a light lunch. These are all things that he's starting to criticize on the regular. I want y'all to understand that I'm really not depriving myself. I don't go hungry, I just don't enjoy stuffing myself. He doesn't listen when I tell him that he's constantly ruining my appetite by forcing snacks on me. Yesterday, when we woke up late and I knew we were going out to lunch, so I only had 1 slice of thick brioche French toast, powdered sugar, syrup, butter, half a peach, and 2 slices of summer sausage, he had 5 slices of French toast with all of the toppings and whipped cream, 1.5 peaches, and the rest of the summer sausage, and an egg. I ended up eating a 3rd slice of his summer sausage, dipped in his egg to get him to stop nagging me. He made another 2 comments about how little I ate before lunch. Then at lunch, he had new fights to pick. He didn't want me to order plain iced tea or a diet soda. I don't like overly sweet drinks. He didn't want me to order an entree salad, ranch, bacon, avocado, egg, etc. We negotiated my lunch to a breadstick, a side salad, add avocado, and 2 slices of pizza that he nagged me to finish until his dad told him to lay off because he didn't want me too full for gelato later. The whole meal was pretty embarrassing for me. Of course, my boyfriend wasn't happy that I wanted a small gelato, cup instead of cone. I don't have a sweet tooth, remember? We knew we were going to have a late dinner, so we stopped at a gas station later that evening to get him a snack. I just wanted water, but picked up a small package of corn nuts in the hopes of making him happy, and we still had a minor spat, so I picked some candy too. He didn't notice that he was the one to end up eating it. He claimed that we disagreed because I was irritable from hunger. We picked up dinner at a buffet-style place that charges you by the weight for to-go containers. He decided that I had to use a medium container instead of a small. Admittedly, I just filled the difference with varieties of salad, but I also had a very rich mac and cheese and some fried foods in my container as well. He was bothered by the small portions that I was serving myself, but I was taking many more varieties than him. Think sample platter. My container was full. This is where we had our first real fight about my eating habits. He decided to make a 3rd container of food to make sure that I ate enough when we got home. The restaurant we were at was not cheap. I refused to back down on not blowing a bunch of money on food that we had just end up picking at and throwing away. A lot of the things he picked are foods I don't like reheated. We've been working hard on being more frugal together lately, so I was pretty pissed when he ignored me and paid for the extra food. In the car ride on the way home, the argument continued until it got to the point where he was very frustrated and teared up as he shouted, "I worked so hard to take care of you, and you're always fighting me to hurt yourself." He then proceeded to give me a long, condescending guilt trip. I was pretty enraged, to be honest. Once we were home, dinner went cold while we Google fought over how many calories, protein, sugar, my BMI work, you name it. No matter what I showed him, he wouldn't back down on not feeling like I don't eat enough because muscle weighs more than fat, so you're actually underweight and hiding it by lifting weights. I didn't even know what to say to that, so I went home. He texted me 12 times because I left the cold dinner at his place. I was ignoring him while I made food, but I finally caved and told him that I was eating something else. He asked me to text him a picture of my food. I never responded, and he texted me another 3 times. This morning he texted me to ask if he could bring me breakfast, and I said no. I'm kind of bewildered and annoyed. I'm not really sure how we can resolve this one. In the comments, Dynamite77 says, he claimed we disagreed because I was irritable from hunger. Hulk smash. This is really controlling behavior. Is there any space in his brain for you to be right about your eating habits? Does he do this with other things in your life? OP says, yeah, it was about as enraging as when guys try to say being on my period is why I'm upset. No. He's normally very laid back, but we've only known each other for 8 months. Does your boyfriend have some kind of feeding fetish? Or is this reverse psychology in an effort to get you to develop an eating disorder? Because your weight is almost exactly in the middle of the healthy range for your height, and it sounds like you are perfectly capable of picking out balanced meals for yourself. There is zero justification for counting every calorie or measuring portion size the way that he's trying to do. If you want to try and placate him, tell him that you'll make an appointment with your doctor and discuss healthy eating while you are there. Until then, you don't want to hear another word about meal choices, and if you are given the all clear, this discussion is done. But personally, I think I would just bail. His obsession with this is just too weird. OP replies, I'm not sure. He says he likes my body the way it is, but thinks that I'd be skinnier if he wasn't around to nag me. I'm pretty happy with the way I look right now. To be honest, the thought of having to take him to professionals to get him to listen to me isn't very appealing. Sarah says, put your stats in a calorie calculator, show it to him, and then with him being aware of what you are doing, log your calories for a day. Let him see that you are not under-eating. It's ridiculous that he's policing you like this, by the way. I would have a very serious talk with him about respecting you. Refuse to eat the food that he's badgering you about. Tell him it's not taking care of you, it's being an asshole. I'm tempted to tell you to constantly tell him to eat less. OP says, I downloaded a calorie counter app last night and entered what I would have eaten yesterday without his influence and came in well over my daily requirements, but that devolved into him picking apart how calories and the BMI work. I know this is absurd behavior, but he doesn't seem to have a malicious intent, so I'm more puzzled than angry now. He eats a lot, but he's in great shape, so it works for him. I eat less, and I'm in good shape, but he just doesn't accept that it works for me. I think he is both sides of Hanlon's razor. He's being an intentionally obtuse asshole. You have set multiple times clear boundaries around what you are comfortable and not comfortable with eating, and you've explained why that is. He has decided that he wants to railroad that and get into actual very weird feeder territory. If it works for him and his own lifestyle and his diet, that's cool. He should keep that to himself. He is a bottomless pit of calorie-burning muscle that, breaks the laws of thermodynamics, and it doesn't matter how much he shoves in his gob, he's got more calories out than calories in. Good on him. But the way that he's so aggressively going after you here and not giving up and continuing to double and triple down every time he's challenged and then move goalposts and be like, well, I don't care what the app says. My understanding of calories and BMI is some crazy shit that scientists have no idea about. I'm actually smarter and better than all of the scientists in the world that study this. So stop it, because the facts are hurting my feelings, alright? I don't know. I feel like this is another case of breakup-worthy behavior from his end, because you've asked him so many times to chill out and leave you alone and stop policing you, and he won't. How much more can you realistically take in this instance, OP? I don't know how much patience people have before they either crack and give in to his pressure or leave. That's realistically where this is going. And now, onto the update. So in case anyone is wondering, turns out my now ex's mother and 2 sisters had him convinced that I had some kind of eating disorder and would nag at him about it and make him feel like crap for letting me hurt myself. All 3 of them are obese, so I don't know why he weighed their opinion on nutrition so heavily. I pointed out, with more tact, and we had a much better conversation about why he needed to lay off on how I eat. He did make a lot of effort to keep his opinions to himself, but could never completely let his worry go. Officially, this isn't why we broke up, but it was kind of like this shattering illusion from How I Met Your Mother that kind of made me start noticing how he's quick to be arrogant, condescending, and patronizing when he thinks he's right, and how he buys into every dumb thing that his family tells him without question. Stuff like that. In the comments, the Amos Bros says, "It was kinda like the shattering illusion from How I Met Your Mother." From the How I Met Your Mother Season 3, Episode 8, entitled Spoiler Alert, this is the synopsis. Ted thinks that he has found the perfect girl, Kathy, played by Lindsay Price, but the group disagrees. At first, they refuse to give a reason so as not to spoil her for him, but eventually Marshall tells him that she talks too much. Now that Ted knows, he cannot stand her garrulousness. The 5 friends then let slip each other's flaws until all are spoiled, and thus are more annoying to those who had previously not noticed the flaws. Whenever one or more of the group has these quirks pointed out to them, the sound of glass shattering is heard. This represents the shattering of their illusions about one another. Further down in the comments, Yes I Left His Ass says, "Well, it's not a bad thing to have figured this out by 8 months in, and to know this wasn't going anywhere. Better to move along in life and find someone worth your time." So here's a beast family was trying to make you a beast to feel better about themselves. That's the most fucked manipulation I think I've heard of. Wow. Glad you got away from that. This happens a lot, especially with people who start losing weight. It's sad. My cousin and I started losing weight the right way. Calories in, calories out. I'm halfway to my goal, and she completed hers a month ago. We both want to be around 140 pounds. At Thanksgiving, all we heard was, "You're both skinny. What in the world? Why are you two not eating enough? Don't you want pies, cookies, more potatoes, more turkey?" After years and years of them making fun of us and badgering us about our weight and telling us we'd be happier if we lost it, now we get told that we don't eat enough and that we're too thin. It just made us realize we have to completely ignore our family. Sometimes, the happy ending is that the relationship is over. I thought for sure he was a feeder. Well, effectively he is, just as a proxy for his mum and sisters who can't stand to have a non-obese woman around. Which is going to become a problem because it seems he's not attracted to overweight women, but he also feels like he has to make sure these skinny women keep eating. And if they listen to him, when they inevitably put on weight and he stops being attracted to them, what then? Yeah, look, he's not thinking that far ahead. I think he's just going to keep smashing his head into a concrete wall indefinitely and not learning from it. Well, I would hope that he learns from this mistake that he's made here, but I'm not holding out hope. If he is able to give in to the peer pressure of his family that easily and go against common sense, I don't have much hope in him, let's be honest. It's for the best that she let him go because that relationship was never going to be healthy. Unless he decided himself not to listen to his family or to potentially cut them off if they escalated, but who knows? That's not a possibility now. Opie got out of Dodge, she can find someone better. Thank you for the story, Opie, and thank you for the update. Our next post is titled, "My husband's car got destroyed, and now he's taking his frustrations out on me." We've been dating for 4 years, married for 11 months. Basically, a truck driver hit my husband's car and entirely destroyed it. It was a hit and run, so no one knows who the driver of the truck was, which is ironic because almost all of our neighbors saw it happening, but nobody bothered to write down the license plate number. The accident happened at around 7 a.m. Our whole neighborhood started talking about it, and 3 hours later, one of them finally decided to let us know what happened. Needless to say, it was a shitty way to start the day. My husband loves his cars, especially this one. We're currently trying to figure out things with our insurance, but it's not looking good. My husband is super frustrated and angry, understandably so. But unfortunately, he's taking all of this frustration and anger out on me. He's yelling at me non-stop and forcefully pushes me out of the way when I'm standing in his way. I tried to comfort him and gently touched his arm, but he slapped my hand away. I've never seen him like that, and honestly, it's scaring me. I'm one of those people that immediately get emotional when someone raises their voice at them. Is there anything that I can do? How can I calm him down? In the comments, leave and let him work out his tantrum on his own. Come back only when he agrees to treat you with respect. He hit you, he pushed you. That is physical abuse. It is not okay. You do not have to stay and be his emotional punching bag until he feels like stopping. In a few days, when he has calmed down, tell him in no uncertain terms that you will not tolerate that kind of treatment and that if it happens again, even once, you're gone. Personally, I wouldn't agree to return until he agrees to go to therapy. OP says, good advice. Thank you. Minnow says, I don't think I'd return at all. This sub usually annoys me with the oh my god, divorce mentality, but abuse is a whole other ballgame. Get somewhere safe, take some time, get some physical and emotional distance, and have a good hard think if this is the person you want to be with. He's yelling at me non-stop and forcefully pushes me out of the way when I'm standing in his way. I tried to comfort him and gently touch his arm, but he slapped my hand away. It's time to pack a bag and go visit someone for a bit. If he's angry, you are not his emotional or physical punching bag. This is not normal, and you should not have to deal, endure, or cope with it. It's a car. It can be replaced. He's placing the value of his car over you. That's not okay. Big red flag. You are less than 1 year into this marriage, and he's already being abusive when life doesn't go his way. There are 1,000 other things that can go wrong in a marriage. Is this an indicator of how he will handle them? The hard thing to realize is that if you do nothing, it won't get better. You will end up remembering this as the first time he was abusive. You really can't sweep this under the rug. All the red flags are flying. Find someplace safe to stay, and don't go back until he apologizes. And not an I'm sorry but apology. He doesn't get to blame the situation or you for his behavior. You obviously know this isn't okay because you are here posting. You are right. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. While you're taking a break, read up on the early warning signs of abuse and do some serious thinking about whether there are other things that you have missed or excused. Take your time and don't go back until you feel safe. Leave him be for now. When things are calmed down, you bring up his unacceptable behavior to him. Insist and don't back down. This is therapy-worthy behavior. He needs to learn to deal with his emotions like an adult because right now, you are living with a teenager lashing out. Let me guess, he's a stoic guy who carries his emotions on the inside and never discusses or allows himself to express emotions, making sure they are sealed away. And when he finally gets emotional, the floodgates open and all hell is loose. Typical manly behavior. I'm saying this as a man in my 30s who had to learn the same. Be in healthy contact with my emotions. OP says, thanks for the advice. Yes, you're actually spot on. Well, with OP's confirmation of the situation, I will say, do what the comments are saying here. He is not safe to be around. He is taking his emotions out on you. He is letting the floodgates open. This is only going to escalate because he is normalizing it. And if you accept it and you don't push back on it, you don't give him consequences for his actions, he's going to take that as your acceptance of the situation as is. And then from there, he's free to escalate because he doesn't see a problem with it. He is not apologizing. He is not changing his ways. He's not doing anything to make the situation better. I don't see this situation getting better. I see this as what they said, the start of abuse. And you will kick yourself if you don't do anything about it now that will stop this behavior, change this behavior, or get yourself away from this behavior. You would not at all be a bad person for leaving and issuing him a harsh ultimatum as a result of all of this. And now, on to the update. I just wanted to let y'all know that my dear husband will soon be my ex-husband. Most people suggested to leave for a short while to let my husband deal with his emotions on his own and to avoid me being his punching bag. I spent a full week at my mum's house, and when I came back, he was still mad about his car. It got to the point where he was transferring all of his anger onto me, so now there were 2 angry people instead of 1. We kept getting into fights and discussions, but I decided that this marriage wasn't worth saving anymore when he pushed me out of his way. I wasn't purposefully standing in his way, I was preparing a meal in the kitchen so hard that I lost my footing and hit my head against the corner of our kitchen table. I must have lost consciousness for a short amount of time because suddenly my husband was next to me and was apologizing. I'm gonna be honest, it's breaking my heart to leave this man, but I'm genuinely scared for my safety when I'm around him. There's plenty of fish in the sea, I guess. TLDR, I'm getting a divorce. In the comments, Trust Me I'm a Doctor 12 asks, did you contact the police? This assault should be reported. I hope you're okay, and I'm glad you have your parents nearby for support. OP says, I did not, but it might really be a good idea to contact them. Please do, OP. You really do need to file a report and document that. Hopefully you never need it, but if you do, you'll have it on record. I'm glad you're getting out. Has he really never shown you this side of him before? OP says, now that I'm looking back at it, he's always been a person with a lot of anger inside of him. Peace was never an option, but violence was. However, that violence has never been directed at me until the incident with his car happened. To be honest, I guess I never really wanted to see and accept that side of him, so I just ignored it because I was so in love with him. Pinkleton says, I'm so sorry. A head injury where you blacked out is no joke. I hope you got checked out by a doctor. Your husband could have literally killed you. I wonder if the neighbors were afraid to tell him for some reason. Weirder things have happened. I wondered at that detail, but thought maybe they just weren't close to OP and her ex. But after reading the whole post, I think you're onto something. They must have seen him in rages before and didn't want to deal with him. Or they know that he would take it out on the closest person to him, which was his wife, and was worried about her. Either way, they were right to be concerned considering his idea of getting emotional is to push people, especially hard enough to send them toppling and getting hurt. Yeah, don't stay with people who can't regulate their emotions. It rarely ends well. Over a car. I get loving a car, like maybe it was a classic, but to be worked up for over a week, allowing it to ruin your marriage? That's wild. Dude was always a ticking time bomb. If it wasn't the car, it'd be something else. Exactly this. Violent men always find an excuse to ramp up the abuse. It sounds like OP was patient and dutiful in the marriage, so since he couldn't find fault directly with her, he had to find it elsewhere. I'm sure he would have begun finding fault directly with her soon enough. As soon as they feel comfortable physically attacking you, their threshold for violence keeps shrinking. My stepfather was a similar type. Very frequently, the violence was triggered by things that I had nothing to do with, but he would decide that it was my fault anyways. He also loved shoving me to the floor while I was cooking dinner for the family. He just needed an excuse to turn me into his literal punching bag. Any excuse, so he could work out some of his frustration and anger and start feeling better. Yeah, look, those are very, very scary red flags to realize that someone has. And I feel like it is easy to forgive these things right off the bat and be like, you know what, that's just how he is. He's a violent guy sometimes, but he's not a threat. He would never do that until they are doing that. And they are violent, and they are a threat, and your neighbors are not going to help you out, or they are scared to help you out because that violence could be turned on them and you at the same time. It reminds me a lot of that story where OP thought she was being stalked by her neighbor, and she was scared to bring it up to her husband because of his reaction, because of what might happen. And she did anyway. She brought it up to him, and who is surprised to find out that he was violently angry? He had a very violent reaction. OP was right to be scared of him. and that the neighbor was just checking in on her to make sure that she was okay. This story, very similar to that one. I'm glad that OP took the advice of the community and got out of there because, yeah, her life could have very easily been taken from her when he pushed her. She wasn't doing anything. She was making dinner and he still pushed her over in an attempted murder. That she could have died. Who knows? It was still assault. I still think she should report his ass to the police. But I guess what to take away from this is, stay away from people that take their emotions out on others. It's not good. Thank you for the story, and thank you for the updates, OP. I hope you find someone that will not abuse you like this. You didn't deserve that. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.